Well, eventually I had to get some help. I had to find someone to talk to. I had to find a professional that was put in places to be able to help me find solutions, honestly. And that took some time because like I said, I'm a part of double trouble. I'm a man,
Right,
I don't ask for help as a man, and I'm a former athlete. When I was playing
right.
football, I can never tell my coach, man, I might need some help covering this wide receiver. Even though I know it's a tough day for me, I would never say I need help.
I made it through the rough time. Rough time. I made it through the tough time. Tough time. I made it through the bad time. Bad time. So now I gotta get mine. Get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice. You
Welcome
gotta
to
know
Bailey and
it's
Buck
me.
Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Misty Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Masburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Hey, welcome to another episode of Bailey and Buck Unplugged. Today we are super excited. We have the one, the only, Bryant McFadden, also known as BMAC, as our guest today. He is a two-time Super Bowl champion. He is also one of those corners who made the whole field feel smaller. And you know those players, that's this guy, right? He's a Florida State Seminole, a South Florida made guy. So right after my own heart personally. And now he's one of those voices that breaks down the league as a CBS Sports football analyst, right? So what's really cool about Brian is that he's lived the game at every level, right? He's experienced the pressure at every level, from recruiting, the draft process, Sundays, playoffs, Super Bowl moments, and now he's bringing that same experience in front of the camera, right? So this guy knows pressure. He's probably going to share so much with us about mental health and wellness. We are so excited to welcome to the show today. We can't wait to hear about your journey. Welcome, Brian.
Oh, thank you,
Welcome,
man. Thank you.
Bring that feedback on.
B Mac
Thank
and B
you. I'm
Mash.
excited. Misty, thank you for that great bio, but it's a pleasure to be on with you guys, and I'm ready to have some fun and also to be super informative. So this is going to be a treat.
That's awesome. BMAC, I want to first start. She did mention how tough it is. And being that you're a Florida State Seminole, I'm a Miami Hurricane. We're really true rivals at heart. I wanted to get a look. I wanted to start the podcast off by asking you really your true feelings about how Florida State has just not been what you have expected them to be. And what are your thoughts on what Florida State should do really moving forward? Because I also want you to add a little bit about NIL in there and how it's impacted Florida State and just college football before we really get into the mental health.
Well, honestly, the last 2 years has been extremely tough. Being a fan of the program still, being a former player, just not seeing the type of play that I grew up watching. That
Right.
it's been difficult for me. And the same can be said for everyone who's associated with Florida State, either, just attending the university or just being a casual fan or playing for the team. Misty, you're an alum as well. So
Yeah.
when you go to Florida State, you have no other choice but to root for football. If you're not a
Right.
football fan, you become that when you're there in Tallahassee because that is the creme de la creme. So
The
from
creme
how
de la creme.
Yeah, from how we grew up.
Saturdays in Doak. Come on, Robert. You know
Yeah,
it.
he's a hurricane, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, I can't say
We
too
played
much.
in the national championship just now.
That's what I'm saying. I can't say too much about Miami because they're earning their stripes right now.
Exactly.
And that makes it even so hard to watch because we're looking at our rival down south emerge,
Right. Right.
through the smoke. And now we're trying to figure things out. It's tough. It's tough, Rob. And we got to get back to the basics because college football is in a better place when Florida State, Miami, and Florida is relevant. And
Right.
in the last few years, over the last decade or so, all three teams haven't been relevant together. It's been a
Right.
long, long time. Either you had, Florida State doing their thing, or Florida, or now Miami, but having the trio be relevant, it's been a while. It's been a while. So
Right.
hopefully we can get things back together. The student body is trying to be patient. But if you're a Florida State fan, just like Miami fans, just like Florida fans, you've been spoiled because you've seen
Right.
a consistency throughout years on the football field. And right now, Florida State, they haven't reached that level.
Right. Yeah, man, listen, I do want to, I would like to jump on top of the pile, so to speak, and bash Florida State, but I'm not going to do that.
That's
You
growth.
know, a lot of time we are in South Florida. We're South Florida guys. We went to rival schools, but we're in-state alumni, so to speak, brothers. And a lot of people don't really understand and know the true connection between Florida State, Miami, and Florida. A lot of the kids on these three university teams all know each other from playing in high school, 7-on-7. Florida has the best 7-on-7 teams in the country. And a lot of these kids end up going to these schools. They know each other. So the rivalry has always been great in just the history of it. But after the season, a lot of those guys, they mingle with each other. There's a true love for Florida State players and Florida players and Miami players. They all know each other. So I would like to say, you're a guy that I have a ton of respect for. I love you like a brother, and you went to Florida State. I know how you feel about me. So with all that being said, hopefully Florida State and Florida can get their NIL going because I really think that that's what it's about right now. It's about how much money can you use in a system where kids are able to leave school. You could be below 500 and the next year you win national championship just like Indiana did. You know what I mean? It's just really how did your off season of NIL and recruiting and how did all that go for you? Because you can change the roster pretty fast, which is way different than when we went to college. But I want to really just get on the topic of mental health in your situation. This program is all about awareness, right? This podcast is about awareness and showing our listeners and our viewers really people that they look up to, people that were on some level of stage, whether it's athletics, pros, celebrities, actors, whatever it is. We all have gone through something in our life that really brought us to a low that maybe not many people know of. I want to just ask you that question. Do you remember a time in your life that you were really in a low or dark place? Tell us about that and the process you went through getting there and getting out of that.
Yeah, I'll say for me, um, right when I knew my career was coming to an end,
Right,
that was a surreal moment for me because I've said this countless times. When you're an athlete, and I just gotta reference my football career because I played basketball, ran track in high school, but clearly I excelled on the football field and I was able to go to college for football and get drafted for football. So I'll just preference my football career as an example. But athletically, I was institutionalized athletically. And what I mean when I say that is because since third grade, I was doing the same thing. I had the same regiment, to say the least, right?
right,
You go to school, you practice, you play games. And then when the season was over, you were trying to find ways to get better. Now, back in those days, you didn't have the 7-on-7 cycles like you have now. So you were just doing
Right.
little random things to try to get better. I did the same thing third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12, right? And then you go to college. So I went to college for 4 years, did the same thing, same regimen, same
Right.
schedule. And then you get drafted and you have the same schedule. So you're talking about almost 30 years of doing the same thing.
Right.
When they take it away from you or you walk away from it, now you're out in the real world and you don't know what to do. You don't know
What
because
to
you're
do.
part of the same schedule for such a long time. That's where you're athletically institutionalized. And now they
Right.
just you out there and say, hey, man, find a way to be happy. Well, the first earthly thing I fell in love with was football.
Right.
That was the first thing that was a part of this world that I fell in love with. That wasn't a family member, a family tie. It was a game of football. So when you
Right.
play it, 9 times out of 10, Rob, you know this, you still have the love for it, but they just don't see you're fit. You're not a fit anymore for the game. So what
Right.
happens next? Like, how do you find something that feels that love, that excitement? That's why you see a lot of guys when they retire, they kind of go into a slump. A lot of guys
Right.
gain a lot of weight, they turn to some type of substance, they become verbally disconnected, they isolate themselves because we ain't happy. We've been doing this
Right.
thing for 20 plus years.
Right.
Like, yeah, even though we have more downtime to be with our family, we're not accustomed to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I was going through that process, I was like, man, what am I going, what will I do? And then
Right.
so I was in that gray area because it was an injury that kind of led to my departure. I'm like, well, I can get healthy enough to maybe play again. And it didn't happen.
Right.
So I was in a dark place. And then what made it even worse, uh, Bailey and Misty, was that most of my friends were still playing.
Right.
I'm hearing these conversations as they get ready for training camp, but I'm not getting ready for training camp. I'm at home hoping and waiting. They're getting ready for training camp. They're talking about their experience, getting ready for preseason play. I'm watching it and I'm still like, man. So now it's putting me in a deeper hold. And I'll say this for guys like myself and for like Rob, we're part of what I call double trouble. And what I
Right.
mean when I say that is when you're a man, you're indirectly taught to not ask for help.
Right.
That's just how it is being a man. That's manhood. We figure it out on our own. We don't ask for help. We figure it out on our own. Think about for the females, Misty Bailey, I don't know if you guys are married, but 9 times out of 10, your husband got a problem. He ain't gonna tell you until the tail end that he has a problem. We're gonna try to
Right.
figure it out.
I
But
wish mine didn't ask me for all the help he'd be asking me for. I got to do everything.
you feel me?
Right.
But double trouble comes from when you're an athlete, you definitely are indirectly taught to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, we see a lot of that. It's crazy how you're explaining what you went through. Misty, Robert, I don't know if you've heard it that way before, but the way he's described it today, like I never thought about the repetition of the same process over and over
Yeah.
since third grade for 30 years. And then when you stop or it's taken away, your friends are still like in the same repetition. And then when it's like, what do you do? Not only are you just not doing what you did all the time, but now you're also not doing what you did all the time by yourself.
Right.
Like
Yes.
that blew my mind just now. That blew my mind because I never looked at it that way. And you're right, there's a lot of people gain weight and then the depression hits and like all of the things. And that's like, how did you like turn that around for yourself? Like what did you do to pull yourself out?
Well, eventually I had to get some help. I had to find someone to talk to. I had to find a professional that was put in places to be able to help me find solutions. Honestly. And that took some time because like I said, I'm a part of double trouble. I'm a man.
Right.
I don't ask for help as a man, and I'm a former athlete. When I was playing
Right.
football, I can never tell my coach, man, I might need some help covering this wide receiver. Even though I know it's a tough day for me, I would never say I need help.
Right.
That's how we're just indirectly taught that in sports, and we're indirectly taught that as being a man. But for me, I had to humble myself down and say, you know what? I'm not getting any better. Luckily enough for me, though, I never was a smoker or a drinker. So I didn't
Right.
have that to handicap me. And that's why we
Right.
see so many guys go to these dark places where they're abusing alcohol or weed, whatever the case may be, because they were casual drinkers or smokers. But now when you're done and you're not part of the game anymore, it becomes abusive. So
Right.
I never was that guy. So I didn't turn to that. But I turned to I was still living in South Florida at the time, so I was turning to the Hard Rock. I was going home
Right.
blackjack. You know what I mean? I
Right.
had too much time on my hand. I
Right.
didn't I didn't I had too much time. An idle mind is never good. It's never
Right.
good. I had too much time. I was away from my structure that I was a part of for 20 plus years.
Did gambling become like a real thing for you?
No, it didn't come a real thing. Luckily, I was good at it. So I didn't
Oh,
lose.
okay.
I'm cheap. So, I don't like losing money anyway.
Right.
But I
Right.
found myself going to the Hard Rock more than I ever did because I had idle time. And I was
Right.
just
It's
trying to
open
find something.
24/7.
Yeah, and 24/7. And also too, I was trying to find something to feel that competitive fire in me. Compete,
Right.
be a part of something. Like
How long,
that.
how long were you in this dark place? How long were you in this state of where you were trying to figure out what you were going to do? Like were you in a at a stage where it was real depression for you? And how long were you in that stage?
Yeah, I was in that state for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Wow.
I was in denial for a minute because I'm in the black community, depression that's foreign language.
Right.
You better go figure it out. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Anxiety. No, I don't even what? Like that's foreign language for us. When you're a kid growing up in the black community, how I grew up, depression, no, that's not even in our vocabulary. Anxiety. No, like now I hear kids talk about anxiety. I'm like, bruh, I didn't even know what that meant growing up because
Right. I didn't even know that word.
yeah, that was a forbidden word.
Right.
So for me, I had to kind of humble myself down and say, you know what? I'm going in a place I've never been before. I started to kind of isolate myself from family and friends. I was a bit difficult to deal with, short-tempered,
Yeah.
having trouble sleeping because I was so anxious and I just was not happy, feeling like I wasn't happy. And that's when I started to realize I'm not me. I'm not me. I'm going to the Hard Rock, 3 a.m. in the morning to try to win, and then I win. And this is how I knew something was going on with me. I would go to the Hard Rock, play blackjack for a few hours, hit him across the head, and I'm still
Right.
not. I
You're
don't
still
even
not happy.
yes. So that's when I had to humble myself down and say, I need to seek help. I was able to seek help, started getting some information about what was going on because the only way you can become better, you have to become knowledgeable of the problem.
Right.
That's the first thing. Become knowledgeable of the problem. Then you can go ahead and seek out ways to get an answer. But if you don't know the problem, you will never find the answer. So that was the first step, the
I think
foundation.
it's super interesting. I think it's interesting and amazing when we talk to different celebrities and some of them on their own decide it's time to seek help, right? Somebody like you on your own. For me, someone had to tell me, "Hey, Rob, man, you need to go see something. You need to see a therapist." I'm like, "Huh?" You know what I mean? But when you look at yourself in the mirror and you can say to yourself in the mirror, I need help. And then you take the steps. Because sometimes you say stuff and you still don't take the steps forward to do it. So the fact that within yourself understood you needed help and then took those steps forward to do it is amazing.
Yeah, it was, but it took some time. And that's why I don't mind sharing my story or speaking to other players or former players because I've been through the fire. I'm
Right,
not talking about, I'm not assuming what you could do. I'm talking about what I did do. And I'm in a
right,
much better place. So upon seeking help, which was very, very important, I became aware of my problem. And then I started finding what solutions I could utilize to feel better. And this is what I tell players now that I talk to when you are drafted, and we think about the here and now. That's the thing about NFL guys. When we get drafted, we never visualize the end, but there will be an end, right? So my advice to players now, think about the end in the beginning. Because what that does is it allows you to create a game plan for whenever the end comes. Because it will come, but if you have a game plan in place, you have a smooth transition into
Right.
your post career. Because we have to remember this as players, you will be a retired player longer than you will be a current player. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee. And life has to continue. And life has to continue in a happy place. Because, like I said, Rob, the same can be said for you. Football, you love the game. So it's hard to find something that gives that same love to the match the same degree, right? But if you can find something that gives you at least 50% of that love, you're going to be smiling from ear to ear. And that's
Right.
what helped me overcome these ailments that I was dealing with mentally, is that seeking help, talking about it, being the transparency was dope, was needed, and then coming up with a solution.
It
That's
An
sounds
great.
like you
actual
have to have a
solution.
new love, like not even just like once you fall out like after football, it sounds like you have to have like a new love, like a new passion, a new thing to fall in love with doing. And if you've been doing this only one thing since you were in third grade, it's like what's the new love that you introduced after you like started on your journey to get help and grow? Like what was the new thing you fell in love with besides
Great question.
blackjack?
Yeah, that's a great question because I was trying to figure it out through the process of speaking and talking to a professional. And I'm like, you know what? I still love football. Well, they won't let me play anymore. Okay, I got to accept that. But what could I do that could still give me that love and make me feel good? The coaching idea was thrown at me, like being a coach collegiately. But I'm like, the flexibility isn't there. Those college coaches, man, that's
Right.
life, right?
Yeah.
That's their life. I wanted to do something that I was still tied to the game, but I still had flexibility. So what I did was I started thinking about, well, I can talk about the game. I'm passionate
Right.
about. I can make people feel comfortable hearing me and they can learn something from me. And I ain't boring. I'm far
Right.
from I was born to make people laugh and make people smile. That's just my character. I don't know how the good man above blessed me to do so, but I'm so super thankful he did. So what I did
Right.
was, and I don't know if you remember this, Rob, but I reached out to Rob and Drew. I was still living in South Florida, and you guys got me an opportunity to go intern and watch with I think it was either Channel 7 or Channel 10 at the time.
7.
I was I
Channel
was
7.
I was shadowing them. I
Yeah.
was going shadowing them and just watching. Didn't pay, it wasn't paid a thing, and I was okay with that, but I wanted to see the process to make sure it
Right.
was something that I wouldn't mind being a part of. So I was doing that on the weekends, just going and
Yeah.
shadowing, watching. And then I started to kind of understand, like, yo, this is something I think I could really, really do. And what helped me also, I'll backpedal real quick. In 2009, while I was still playing, Rob again helped me get opportunity to do the first ever broadcasting boot camp with the NFL. And I
Yeah.
was a current player. It was me and Maurice Jones-Drew, the only current players there. Everyone else was retired players. And I remember the retired players were asking, why are you guys here, man? You guys still young in your career. And that time I said, I just wanted to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to another 4 years, 5 years later, now I'm actually getting involved in it. So I did
Hmm.
that. I did that for some months. And then I got on the show in South Florida with Stu Gotts. It was
Yeah.
Stu Gotts was doing a show. He allowed me to come on, and I would just talk ball for maybe about 10 to 15 minute segment. And I was building relationships, shaking hands, kissing babies, and everyone started to say, "Okay, B-Mac, man, you're doing pretty good." But I was extremely raw. I'm fresh off the
Right.
street, extremely raw.
Yeah.
So I started to look and research how can I become better? And what was my problem? Well, I didn't have an issue in communicating the game because I know the game like the back of my hand. My biggest issue was being able to relate to whoever it is I'm talking to.
Right.
So guess what I had to do? I had to go uh, hire a speech coach, right?
Right.
And I didn't see it as an insult. I saw it as an investment in myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I want to be able to relate to whoever it is I'm talking to. I want to be able to relate to the household in Iowa. right? Bunch of
Right.
folks that don't look like me. I want to be able to relate to the household in Burbank, California. I
Right.
want to be able to relate to the household in Fort Myers because those will provide opportunities. So I didn't see it
Right.
as an insult, I saw it as an investment. And then I started to really see the fruits of my labor pay off. And
Right.
I read this somewhere years ago. You don't have to love the work, but you got to love the results. Because if you
Yeah.
love the results will make you love the work.
Right.
Because you want those results over and over again, more and more, more and more. So when you get that result, when somebody said, "Bro, you killed that segment," I gotta go back to doing what made me kill that segment and keep doing it.
Right. Keep doing it.
So that was the final piece of the process for me in becoming a better me. Outside of finding someone to talk to, they helped me find out the problem. Then they helped me come up with solutions to that said problem, and I attacked it just like it was when I was playing ball.
That's interesting. That's great. That's a great way to put it. The finding, falling in love with the solution, and it'll make you love the work to get to the solution. Um, when you when you decided to get help, how did you do that? Did you go through the NFL? Did you do that on your own? How did you start that process?
Well, my wife, she helped me with that process because usually the female partner is the first person to
Right.
see there's a problem.
Right.
Yeah,
That's great. That's
your
great. She
female,
gets a
No
lot of
lies
credit.
told.
yeah,
No lies there. Keep going, B-Mac. Keep
yeah, your
going.
partner is the first one. They say something, man, what's wrong with you? Like, and you know what we gonna do, Rob? Man, I'm good. You tripping?
Yeah.
Wrong with
Yeah.
you? I'm all right. In my
Here it is
mind,
right
I'm
here.
like,
Here it is right here. Oh,
yeah,
you
man, you
tripping.
tripping, man. I'm good, man.
Oh,
Something
you
wrong with you.
tripping.
Yeah. So we had to have that back and forth for a minute until you right.
All right, let's do this. Let's talk. Let me talk. Let me get some help.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Wife
So
and
is
that
the
was like
person who loves you the most. Your wife is the person who loves you the most because she doesn't have to love you. It's a choice. Like she didn't birth you. You're not her son. You're not her parent. You're not her sibling. You're not none of those things. Your wife is the person who loves you the most because she chose to. And we are also the people that know you guys the best. We listen to every single thing you say, we watch everything you go through and do and suffer through or win or accomplish. And so when we're coming to you to be like, hey, we might need to deal with this thing, and you guys are like, no, we're the one person that's got your back and wants to help you like immediately and is going to tell you the blunt, honest truth about it. But we get the most pushback.
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's what y'all signed up for.
yeah.
And then that's see, exactly. There we go.
Yeah, we talk about the fine print. That's what my husband
Yeah.
and I always talking about. I didn't read that in the fine print when we got married. What are you talking about? Like that
Yeah.
was
And my husband makes this one statement all the time. He's like, I might not want to get there. I might not want to go, but once you get me there, I will perform. And I'm like, but damn, all the work I got to do to drag you there
Right,
makes me angry in the process. And then when you get there, I'm not as celebratory about it because of how much work I had to go through to get you there. And I just want to sit there and be like, I freaking told you so. Like, but then we got to be like, no, oh, great job, honey. You did it. Like, but I'm so glad you listened and that you got
yeah.
there with her. So glad you listened because
Yeah, Bryant. So I'm
yeah,
wondering, I think this is going to help people. So you were talking about wanting to
yeah.
help people going through something similar. So since we kind of circled back to that, I want to take the opportunity to ask you about this because I think a really common barrier, other than I shouldn't ask for help, should be able to do this on my own type of thing, is also this isn't really bad enough for me to need to get help, right? I think a lot of people struggle with that in their mindset.
yeah,
Is I can go a little bit longer. It's really not that bad yet, right? So I think was there a specific, it's like kind of a two-part question. Was there a specific moment, maybe it was a conversation with your wife or when kind of like you were like, you know what, let me stop fighting this and let me accept help would be a good thing, number one. So like that moment for you, if there was a moment. And then number two, what did you do? Because I think that always helps our listeners is to understand what people did, like what their first steps were in getting help.
So to answer the first question, I got tired of feeling like I wasn't living.
Mhm.
That bothered me. I'm naturally a happy guy. I'm naturally easygoing. I got tired of feeling like I wasn't living. Like even though my career was over, played in Super Bowls, won Super Bowls, it felt like I wasn't living. That's not a good
Mhm.
feeling. And when I started to look in the mirror and not see myself, and I became unrecognizable, then it's like, well, what am I doing?
Right.
Mhm.
And another thing that you said earlier, when individuals they say, well, it's not that bad. My rebuttal to that statement or that mindset would be, if you're a athlete or former athlete, if you ever had a bad practice or a bad game, would you ever say, well, it wasn't that bad?
Mm.
No. You know what you would do? You would watch that tape. Your coaches would scrutinize you in a good way, tell you what
Right.
you need to do, and you go out and be better.
Right.
You would
That's
never
so
sit here
good.
and say, oh, it ain't that bad. So for us in the athletic world, we have to attack mental health, mental wellness, just like our career.
Right.
Every day you need to get 2% better. You cannot be stagnant because if you are, you will lose ball games. And in mental health, if you're not getting better, if you're staying stagnant, you're going to miss opportunities. You're going to start disliking yourself, and the people around you are going to start disliking you as well. Your
Right.
kids don't want to be around you, they don't want to spend time with you because you're always angry, you're not joyful. You hurt people, and then you start hurting yourself. So never say it ain't that bad because that's the first sign that it is bad.
Right.
Correct.
That's the first sign.
You have beautiful insight into this, so I would love to hit you with this question because I feel
Wait,
like it's.
Bailey, I didn't get my second question answered.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh,
didn't realize you were still
okay.
done.
So
We
and
answered two
what was the
questions. I
second
thought,
question
my
again,
bad. What
Misty?
was
I
the
was writing
second
down. What was
question?
the second question?
Yeah, no. No, that was really good. That was really good insight. And I know Bailey's got an awesome question for you. But what I just and I didn't mean to interrupt, but the reason I want this question answered again is because I think this always helps people. So when you decided I don't like the person I'm seeing in the mirror. I don't like how I'm feeling every day. I want to get help. What were your first steps?
Finding someone to talk to. That was the first help. Doing some research, finding out who fits what I need, right? And oftentimes you can't just find that out by reading a bio or looking at a picture. You got
Right.
to start making some calls and talking to people, right? Because I'm pretty sure there are therapists everywhere that would love to get on a phone call and allow you to talk to them and ask them certain questions. You can easily get a good indicator of like, this is someone I want to try this with, or no, I'm gonna go a different direction.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, it's no different. And I'm going back to the athletic world again. If I need to find an off-season trainer to train me and get me better for the upcoming season, the first person that comes before me, I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to go check them out. Check out the facilities. Check out what they do. Talk to them on the phone, what the regimen is. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with other individuals and go through that process. And then I pick that person that I feel the most comfortable with, that I think can
Right.
better me. It's the same thing with mental health, mental wellness. Remember, I said you got to attack mental health, mental wellness, just like your career. And even if you're not an athletic individual, you've never been a part of that world. Well, if you're an adult, you're a part of a professional world. So whatever
Right.
you had to do to get to where you currently sit, the strategies, the regiments, you have to do the same thing for your mental well-being. So that is what I did, Misty, in terms of talking to someone, but I had to do my due diligence to figure out who better suits what I'm looking for. And also, too, and when it comes to mental health, never talk to someone who's going to be a yes man, a yes man, a yes woman.
Mhm.
Talk to someone who's going to put you in your place just like a great coach would.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, those are really, really important tips. And actually, we hadn't believe we've had a guest actually share it that way before. And so I just want to thank you for that. And I always try to work in that question because again, it just helps people, right? To think, because I get this question all the time. I don't even know where to start. Like, how do I find somebody that's the right person for me? So I love what you shared because it is about being comfortable and it is about doing your research and finding somebody who's not just coming up first on Google, but that you can actually build a trusting relationship, right? Because otherwise, how are you going to have that dialogue? And definitely, yeah, the yes thing is super super important. So it shouldn't matter what your prestige is or your status is. You need somebody that's actually going to dig in and help you. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. So Bailey, I know you had a question. So I'm gonna let you run with it.
To follow up with this little segue part before I ask my question, 988 24/7 suicide and prevention crisis hotline. So if you don't have anybody to talk to, you haven't found anyone yet, please dial that number. But to go back to what you were talking about with regard to like watching game footage to like make your game better, because you wouldn't just use the statement of like it was good enough, or what was the statement that you made? I'm sorry.
It's not, what Misty said is not that
With the
bad.
game, when you were like, if you lost the game, you were like, it
Oh,
was
oh
good.
yeah, yeah. If you lost the game, you never say it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much. So it wasn't that bad. And you would go and watch the game footage and then you would make it better and whatnot. We have talked to a lot of athletes who I feel like consistently have been afraid to ask for help because it impedes on their ability to get more playing time, get drafted, get selected for whatever they want to be selected for, their contract renewal, all of the things. And that's been the fear.
Right.
What would be
Active
your
athletes.
Yes, so what active athletes like so you're saying like you can't avoid like working on your own mental health and even getting 2% better every day is progress. Like how what should they do? Like how do they do that without being impacted financially?
I don't think, and Rob, you would know better than I do because of your dealings with the teams. I don't
Right.
think a team would hold that against a said player if they became aware that this guy has been seeing a therapist for X amount of years. I think that would be looked upon more of as a plus because now he's trying to be at his best, not just physically, but mentally as well.
Right.
And oftentimes, when these athletes see these therapists, it's not solely because they're going through something. It's just about them trying to keep their sanity. Because when you
Right.
become a drafted, a professional, your life instantly changed. Regardless of where you were drafted, regardless if you're a free agent. When you make that team, your life instantly changes.
Right.
You live a fishbowl lifestyle, meaning anytime, any given time, someone can look into your world and see what's going on.
Right.
So how do you handle that? How do you handle the new money that you're coming upon? How do you handle so many family and friends think you're rich forever and they need you to pay this bill for $80, 500 here, 250
Right.
here. I need you to go get me a ticket. Can you pay my car note? How do you handle all of that? You know what I mean? Because oftentimes when we get drafted, the majority of us become the richest person in our family.
Right.
So guess who the bailout person is whenever someone has an issue? They guess who they call.
Where?
Regardless of where you got drafted, you could have been a fifth rounder. They instantly think this is the guy that can help us. So you
Right.
need someone to help you handle those situations. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was like, when I got drafted, I had someone telling me, "Oh man, this is what you got to do with your money. You got to do this, and you should do this, and invest in here and put it here." And I was like, "Well, why would I listen to you when you never had any money?"
Right.
Like that. But oftentimes, a lot of young athletes they fall into those traps. That's how they get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So you need someone to kind of give you some sane advice. So to your point, Bailey, if there is young athletes watching us and they feel like they want to reach out and talk to someone getting ready for the draft or through their collegiate career, don't see it as a minus that they will look upon you differently, like you're not mentally stable. No, it's a plus. Because if I was to draft someone and I heard they've been seeing a therapist, number one, I want to talk to you and see why you were seeing this therapist. Let me get some understanding about what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how your story could help me. Not to
Right.
mention, even make me feel more comfortable in drafting you. Because I would rather hear you're getting help than to not hear you're getting help and know you have a problem.
You know, I want to just add to that because it takes me back to our podcast with Alonzo Highsmith. And we asked him that question. And he, for the listeners out there and viewers, Alonzo Highsmith is an executive with the New England Patriots. And we asked him about mental health and how does the team look at it, now that mental health has become such a big thing. And he said, they encourage the guys to talk to therapists. They want to get, the most important thing is the player's health over and above everything else. So they don't actually look down upon it, right? They encourage the players. Because I challenged Highsmith. I said, "You say that now, but is this a guy that the team will really look at to do a long-term deal if he's having some mental health issues?" And he was adamant that it's not something that would affect the team. It's more about the medical health of the player, the mental health of the player, and making sure that they're good. And they encourage it. Every team has a therapist on staff now. It is anybody can walk in and meet with the therapist. It's not something that you have to feel embarrassed about or any of those things. That they encourage and the therapist actually talk to the guys. It's not like the therapist talk to players and then go back to the head coach and say, hey, this guy, his job is to work with the players and make sure that he stabilizes their mental health of who's ever having an issue. So, for me on the agent side, we always encourage
Yeah.
we always encourage our guys to seek mental health, especially in the off season, because that's the time they're away from the team. During the season, guys are so busy,
Yeah, it's hard.
right? It's very hard for them to step out of the schedule and go see a therapist unless it's in the building, right? But usually when it's in the building, when they are in the building, they're doing football things,
Mm.
meetings, practice, workouts, then lunch, breakfast, you know, all the different meetings, position meetings, all these different things are happening. So it's hard for it to happen during the season, but during the off season, when they come home, now they're home a lot more with the family. Now there's not much on the schedule besides working out. And when you work out in the morning, you get back home from working out, it's 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. You got the rest of the day. You like, well, what beach we going to, what pool, what party we going to, what club. So if there's an opportunity to go and seek mental health therapy, that's the time. So we encourage all of our guys to do that. And also, I would like to say that on the back of our medical insurance cards, not only athletes, regular folks, civilians, on the back of the medical card, there's usually an 800 number. You can call that number, ask for therapy for yourself, ask for therapy for a family member, ask for therapy for your child, and they will give you options of therapists that are in your network that's closest to your address. So you have the opportunity to drive and go sit down with a therapist or do it through a Zoom or through the phone. But every medical insurance has that on the back of the medical insurance card. And a lot of the times they will pay, as long as they're in network, they'll pay 100% of the fee. So, just to answer your question, Bailey, when you ask, for the listeners out there that don't have an NFL building to go into to go sit with a therapist, that they don't have that kind of access. If you have insurance, you can look at the back of your insurance card. And also, if you don't have insurance and you're in a state where you don't know what to do, it could be emergency. Besides calling 911, you can call your local sheriff, and your local sheriff will come and do a wellness check and decide on whether they should Baker Act you. And that is 100% free. So you can do it for yourself, or if you feel like your friend or your neighbor or a family member at this address, you haven't heard from them, you can do a wellness check through your local sheriff department. They'll show up and they'll make sure that person's okay. And if they feel like that person's not okay, they will take them and Baker Act them. So
Wow.
that's just wanted to give some information.
No, that's great intel. Great
Yes.
information. No, I was worried because, we talked to so many athletes and they talked about like how coaches have treated them since they
Yeah.
were like in little league, since they were in like elementary school, then they go to high school, then they go to college, and then they go to the NFL. Like Terry Crews was one of our guests, and he talked about how he plotted to kill his coach, because
Yeah.
how the treatment of him. So, and he was one of the main ones that I recall him talking about, mentioning, he never felt safe saying that he needed the help because he always felt like his spot or his playing time or something like that was in jeopardy. So it was very consistent. So thank you for answering that. That was
Yeah. And I would like to add, I hope and wish one day that there's mental health therapists on all the parks, all the little league parks. I wish there's
Hmm.
mental health therapists at the high school level, right? Because this is where a lot of our youth, where the trauma happens, right? They're watching maybe mom and dad fight, whether it's physical or verbal. They're being traumatized through the coaches, right? Grabbing the face mask, twisting the helmet, cussing at the kids like he's an adult, right? What's happening in their community, maybe seeing fights in the park, seeing someone get stabbed or shot. And then all of a sudden, these kids who have zero access to therapy are in college, right? And they're playing college. And by that point, now, as we talk today, they're getting paid NIL money. And typically, when money comes into the situation, whatever you're dealing with gets magnified, right?
Yep.
If you're smoking a little bit, you're gonna be smoking a lot. If you're
No
taking
question.
if you're snorting a little bit, you're gonna start snorting a lot, right? Whatever it is, the money will really expand it. So
Elevates it.
elevates
Yep.
it 100%.
Yeah. So, Brian, we want to be respectful of your time. You've been on
Yeah.
this conversation now for almost an hour. So, we want to ask you one of our closing last questions that we ask all of our guests. And that is when you feel like you're going through a stressful period, or maybe your mental wellness is kind of like shifting into a place that you don't like, or you're just having a stressful day, right? What are the top three things that you do for yourself today to bring yourself back on track?
Mm. Oh, that's a heck of a question. Top three things.
What do
Uh,
you
I'll get some cool down time. What I mean when I say that, oftentimes in the league, whenever we had a game, they would tell us before we talk to the media, isolate ourselves to kind of get some cool down time, so you can
Mhm.
right,
allow your emotions to kind of settle, right?
right,
So that way you can either answer or ask whatever it is you need to ask or answer in the best mindset. So I do that
right,
now. If I had a rough day, I'm going like before get involved with my kids and my wife. Oh, give me a second. You know what I mean? Give me a second. Let me just
right.
let me get
Exhale.
a woosah moment real quick,
Right,
right? The second thing I would do, I have a conversation with myself. All right, is this a moment where I need to call my therapist or set up a meeting? Because I still have the resources to be able to talk to my said therapist at any given time, right now.
right,
So
right,
should I send an email and just ask the question, man? This is what I'm going through, man. What you think? If he sit here give me solutions through email, then I'm oh cool. I'm cool. There you go. I follow step by step. But if there's something where he says, you know what, let's get on a call. I get on a call. And the last thing I do, I pray daily, all the time. That's one of my resolution as well. Sit back and talk
yeah,
to God a little bit.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
think
good.
I love that you shared that, and I love that you shared the cool down moment too,
Yeah.
because I think that, and also talking to your therapist, like seeking, help when you need it. I think that's so brilliant to me that you're still asking yourself these questions and that you
Yeah,
haven't, that coachability, in other words, is still alive in you as an athlete. You haven't shut down like I can do it all on my own, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the cool down. I think the cool down helps when you're praying, because then I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like, I can't feel like I can't hear anything, but it's because my own mind won't shut up. So, um, so anyways, so I want thank you for sharing that. So, Bailey's gonna go out and go ahead and close out the show. Before she does that, is there anything else that you want to share, or you want to tell people how they can reach you?
Oh man, number one, just thanks for this invite. Hopefully you guys have me back on sooner than later. I love it. Yeah, you can follow me on social media, BMAC underscore sports talk on X, on Instagram, Facebook. Even though I think I'm locked out of Facebook, so I got to get back in it. But I'm on there, just doing what I do, talking ball, talking sports, and I appreciate this opportunity. And hopefully it was insightful for whoever it is watching or listening to us.
no,
yeah.
absolutely insightful. It was so great to have you on. Your emotional intelligence level is through the roof. And thank your wife for us as well. And You or a friend is struggling with anything mental health related and you need additional resources to share, research, read, and look through, please visit www.kennedykids.org and go to our mental health resources tab. You can also visit our events page to see our next upcoming event. And of course, if the situation is an emergency, please have them dial 911. And if you just need someone to talk to, the Suicide and Crisis Helpline is open 24/7, just like the blackjack tables at the Hard Rock, and that number is 988. So avoid those tables, go straight to 988, and we'll see you on the next one. Get unplugged with us.
Thanks. We appreciate you being back.
Thank you,
You were
guys.
wonderful.